Okay, ladies, let's talk all things core breath. Okay, so core breath was probably one of the hardest things for me to learn, and it's probably the most overlooked. But if we don't have a good core breath, then we cannot properly heal our diastasis. So I have people all the time say to me, what exercises should I do to heal my diastasis? Well, it's not really about the exercises that we do. I mean, it is, but if we don't learn the strategy behind doing those exercises, the exercises mean nothing. And what I mean by that is if we don't know how to properly breathe, then that exercise means nothing, okay? So if you want to properly heal your core or create a stronger core, learning that good core breath is absolutely the essential first step, well, right after alignment. Because if you don't have good alignment, then your core can't sync up anyways, so it can't all work together, okay? So if you're going to spend a ton of time on anything at all, I would highly, highly recommend that it's the core breath. It's kind of boring. It's not going to leave you with like an amazing burn, an amazing sweat, but it is so stinking important, okay? And so the reason we want a good core breath is because it's going to force us into proper alignment so that our core can fire when we need it to. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're going to pick your kid up. Well, your core knows that breath that you're going to take before you pick your kid up is what's going to protect your core, okay? So we're going to start in a step-by-step fashion here, and I'm also going to post pictures of this, but feel free to ask questions, and I'm going to refer to my notes, so sorry if I keep looking down, but I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything, okay? So, step 1, I'm going to have you sit on a stability ball or a bench, okay, in neutral spine, so that nice neutral core, ribs stacked over our hips, bells not rung up, bells not rung down, our fly is zipped, all those cues we talked about before, okay? So I'm going to have you sit on a stability ball, and I want you to be able to feel 3 things, okay? So pretend like you're sitting on a tripod. So I want you to be able to feel your sits bones, otherwise known as your ischial tuberosities, okay? So your sits bones, and I want you to be able to feel your perineum. So you're going to have to really get in touch with your pelvic floor, okay? So you should feel those 3 things, all right? And you should not have your bum tucked under, right? You want to have everything is nice and neutral and just that slight arch in your lower back, okay? And then I want you to place one hand on your belly and one hand on your rib, okay? And with that inhale, I want you to expand your hands out. So that hand that's on your rib, you should feel it become very full with your breath, okay? So your inhale is what's going to fill up your ribs and your belly, and everything else is going to stay relatively still. So your chest isn't going to rise. You're going to keep your shoulders nice and relaxed, and the only part that's being engaged at this point on your inhale is your ribs and your belly, okay? And you're going to fill them up nice and big. And then I just want you to repeat that for a few times so you feel that sensation, okay? So, step 2, you're going to start connecting your breath to your pelvic floor muscles. And this is why it's really important to be able to feel your sits bones and your perineum, okay? Because you're going to feel this on your exhale. So, as you start to inhale and expand, on your inhale, I want your pelvic floor muscles to soften, okay? Feel the space between your sits bones and your perineum, and feel an increased sensation in the perineum against the surface of whatever you're seated in, okay? So repeat that for a few breaths to feel those sensations, okay? Step 3, for your next breath, I want you to fill up the rib cage and the belly, feel that softening in your pelvic floor, and as you inhale, notice any changes to the floor as you exhale. So if I were there to cue you, you should feel a less fullness in the perineum and a less sensation from the surface when you're exhaling, right? Okay, so on your inhale, you're going to fill everything up, and on your exhale, everything's going to kind of come back together, okay? So repeat that for a few breaths, okay? So now, on your next breath, I want you to do an active pelvic floor contraction as you exhale, okay? So think about, on your exhale, think about picking something up with your vagina, like to give you a cue. I know this might be kind of awkward, but to give you a cue, like you're lifting up a blueberry, okay? Or I'll go over some more cues in a minute. But so I want you to do this for a few breaths. So, okay, on your inhale, you're going to expand the rib cage in the belly. You're going to feel your pelvic floor soften, and on your exhale, you're going to pick everything up. Okay, so on your exhale, you're going to imagine picking up those blueberries, and you're going to kind of draw everything in. And the other thing I tell my clients in person, your hip bones, think about kind of bringing them together. Okay. So here are kind of the basics of the core breath. If you are confused by all of that, think of this. Inhale to expand and soften your pelvic floor. On your exhale, you're going to contract and pick up your blueberries. Okay? 1 second here. So any additional cues for your core breath? Maybe things that resonate with you. Let's see. Think about, well, this is a good one. It's a better visual because most of us have done this, but think about holding a tampon in your vagina